please. I make a motion to accept the minutes from February 9th, 2021.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to accept. All those in favor?
So I assume the Pape is the tractor?
Yes. Yes.
What was the product equipment and service for 9/28?
28 for that.
Our
box.
chlorine analyzer broke. The mixer paddles were worn out, and there's balls inside of this deal, and it spins it, but it got stuck and it burned the motor up. It was just over time.
Have you got that back yet?
Got it back today.
It must have shipped at UPS or FedEx.
You did, yeah. Yeah, got it this afternoon.
Idaho truck, I assume has something to do with the dump truck?
Fire
Or
truck.
the fire department?
Fire truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the bills for February 2021.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the, all in favor? Passes. Bill to be, oh, there's some hiding back there.
Is this for the guests, Dan? Okay. I just want to take a minute to introduce my husband and myself, and thank you all for allowing us to speak before you. I'm Delta Heath-Simpson, and this is my husband, Don. And, oh, that's my brother. I don't know if anybody needs to know that or not.
You probably should have told us.
And also, I guess I don't know very many people here, but I grew up next to Dick, so. We're local, I'm a local person, my husband's not quite local, but we live down about between Arrow and Spalding.
Kathleen Gulch Creek, down over there.
And we have been raising fruits and vegetables for over 35 years, I think. And what we do is we just love that, it's our hobby. And we work as teachers, or we did in the past, and so it was just an ideal thing for summers to be spent growing things. So we got selling our excess produce due to Shannon grows those, and used to go to the markets and everything. But in the last year, we decided to just go ahead and sell out of our home. And we had quite a few issues with that. So we have a lot of elderly customers, and some of you might know it's really hard to get on the road down there. Really difficult. And some people couldn't even find our place, so it's a little bit sad. And then we also have a lot of customers who have like campers and big rigs and all kinds of things. So ideally what we're looking for is a way to sell our excess produce, usually once or twice a week, a couple hours in the afternoon. And some people that I've been talking to suggested that maybe we could talk with the City of Juliaetta and find a spot between our house and the city up here. So I asked Wendy, and she graciously replied she couldn't really find any rule against it, which is good. I'm assuming that's still true.
That would be.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're making I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay, I'll take credit.
Oh, okay. But anyway, so that's what we're here to just explore and try to find a spot that's relatively easy to get on and off, and to kind of hit the camping outdoor crowd on, we're thinking Friday afternoons, maybe Thursday and Friday afternoons for a couple hours each afternoon. And something that's easy to get around, and people don't have too much of a safety issue getting on and off the road. And so ideally that's what we're looking for. And so I thought I'd run it by all of you and see if anybody had any thoughts or suggestions or ideas about what might work or might not work. Yeah.
There's the wide spot on both the right side.
That's what I was.
There's,
That's what I was
yeah,
thinking.
the big parking lot. I could just kind of move in, so when there's two semis that park, lumber trucks that park there, and as long as they can turn and make the circle and park over to the backside. I think it'd be a great place because people they've got plenty of room to turn their campers and.
Yeah.
And
They could park on the railroad tracks even if they had.
yeah,
to
they
use
could
them out
park
as a
there
park.
even, yeah.
So you know where the bulky waste site is?
Is that
right-
Just on this side of the fire
Oh,
station.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a big wide spot right next to that. There's a fenced area that has dumpsters in it, and there's a big wide spot that two semis park. That's the area that we're thinking.
Oh, well, that sounds wonderful. I mean, any place that anybody thinks it would be a good idea. And certainly, I mean, we wouldn't want to be in the way or anything, and we just need we just need a space. And, you know, if there was something going on or we were a problem, I mean, we could just rearrange or go somewhere else or not come or whatever.
Would
anybody
you be
wanted to do.
leaving anything there?
No.
So when you're done with
It's
the
just
day-
strictly like farmer's market type thing where everything's in our pickup and we come and then we sell it and then we go.
Okay,
Yeah,
hopefully nothing's left to take.
yeah, yeah. And we have a lot of local customers up here anyway, so that would work out ideally wonderful. And, you know, we'd really like the opportunity to sell and hopefully have people have good food.
It's easy access right off the highway and.
Yeah, and
you
it
can
comes
see-
out straight, so you can see both
You can
ways.
see both
Oh,
ways.
that'd be
It's
good.
nice on this straight stretch there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I move to allow Delta Heath-Simpson to use part of that parking lot to sell homegrown produce.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Oh, thank you very much, I appreciate that. I didn't tell you when our season was, but ideally it's like mid to late July, and hopefully through October.
Yeah,
When you do it, and my suggestion is to go to the Kendrick Juliaetta, so to speak, yard sale, and let people know, like, the day before
Oh, sure.
you're gonna do it, so that people, when they go through that, will see that you're doing it, and they may miss it the first couple of times, but then after that, if you kinda have a routine,
and you can
because,
also talk to the newsletter.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
talked to Polly, actually, she was
Yeah.
the one that suggested that that would be a good site somewhere down along there too. And she did say, please let us know, because they would love to advertise it. And she said, you know, that would be great, so
Yeah.
thank you very much.
If you could put a sign out there.
Oh, yeah.
like
We're thinking a sandwich board, yeah, type thing, yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
great too. yeah.
And I'm admin of the site, the Juliaetta Kendrick site. I'll put that out there too.
Oh, good. Sure, thank you. Thank
Raise
you.
awareness, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I love doing it.
Thank you, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, also, the Blackberry Festival is September 11th this year.
Mhm.
We only charge $15 for a 10 by 10 space.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to pitch a booth down there, that would be like just literally right next to the spot you're already using. So,
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, you'd be more than welcome to do that when that comes around.
Thank you. Yeah, my sister has participated in that, selling her clothes there. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right, any other questions or concerns? And if you do at any time, I mean, just let us know, like, we'd like to think we're easy to work with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go down here to Keller and.
Thank you very much.
This is something that Dot emailed me about. They need to have a copy of the minutes that say that you've given your approval for them to do this application on our behalf, and we just don't have that in the minutes somewhere, so I told them that we would do that tonight.
So will we discuss?
This is what they're in the process of applying for now. So they just need the formality of it in the minutes saying that you guys say it's okay for them to apply for this money for the wastewater treatment plant. A wastewater treatment
I'll
plant
just second
grant.
what you just said then.
I'll motion what she said.
You can read it right off of that.
It's, we need all we can get.
Right, right.
Go for it, Jeff.
And I will make a motion to okay, or get in the minutes, okay for Keller Associates to prepare the USDA-RD funding application for the wastewater treatment plant improvements. Don't make me say it.
I'll second.
I wrote
Motion
exactly
and a-
how they emailed
A
us.
motion and a second, all in favor, passes. And now we need to review the personal policy.
I sent this to Ken for him to, okay our changes. He wasn't able to get to it before, well, he hasn't gotten to it yet. But I said, that's fine because we kind of ran across something that, well, Bonnie especially wanted something clarified in the overtime section. So I wondered if maybe we shouldn't look at that and make that change also.
Because of holiday, okay,
What does it say?
I don't know if I flagged it in the right spot.
might be,
We're talking about overtime pay,
correct.
because it came up about, overtime pay when the guys have to work on a holiday. There was just a little bit of a question. We ended up taking care of it today. Well, we called and asked a couple other cities. If Josh and Justin had to plow on a holiday, so they worked, let's say 5 hours, because I don't remember the exact time. So in order for them to receive overtime for that week, the way we understand it, is because that 8 hours of holiday pay doesn't count toward the 40 hours, so they would have had to work 48 hours, I guess, basically altogether. So they would have had to actually work the 40 hours. And then anything over that would be overtime. I don't know if I'm explaining it
Yeah,
You are.
correctly.
You're doing
And
fine.
we weren't questioning overtime, we were questioning time and a half.
Wasn't that overtime?
That's
Yes.
overtime.
Well,
I mean, if we're working on a holiday.
So you got paid straight time for your 8 hours of holiday pay, and then you got paid the extra hours that you worked. So, I mean, you got paid kind of twice, which would be, your holiday wage.
See, at the landfill on the holiday week, you had to work over the 48 to get overtime. But I thought that when they plowed, it was considered, comp time, not overtime.
Well, that, we were told, when I started, Deborah and I were told that plowing and council meetings were overtime pay. Now,
Yeah,
when we look at our current, not this one, but our current personnel policy, it says it's comp time.
Because I thought that's what we
If
talked
it's-
about.
If it's any other time, it is comp time, but
But if it's a holiday,
but if it's a snow removal,
Whether it's a holiday or not.
whether it's a holiday or not,
So anyway,
Yeah,
we were
it
just
counts
looking
to-
for
time and a half.
So, I'm a little confused. So are we confused on the current personnel policy?
Yes.
Well, yes
Or
and
for
no.
the
Because-
upcoming one?
Well, we had to go by the old personnel policy,
Right.
which was not that.
so what did the old personnel policy say?
Comp.
And the new one we put in there, what does it say?
It doesn't really say.
I was looking on here, it's got full-time regular employees who work on holidays will be scheduled to receive a substitute holiday with pay within 60 days of the date of the holiday they work. Unscheduled emergency work, which I think plowing and things like that definitely would fall under that, will be compensated at a rate at 1.5 times the employee's regular rate of pay.
That's time and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but this is in the new one too, so I think the new ones, does that
So-
answer that?
Explain that to me in regular English then, because that
Yes.
wasn't clear to me, I'm sorry.
I guess to me is if you work any kind of unscheduled emergency work, you get time and a half pay of your regular
So
rate.
if they worked 5 hours on that Monday, they would have gotten 5 hours of time and a half pay, and then another holiday later on down the road?
I think it means that they would get 5.5 hours of overtime pay on top of the 8 hours of
8 hours.
Regular
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
See, and
not
I read
5
these as
hours of
separate.
straight time.
Well, it's just confusing because it's like, okay, I understand the snow part, but, you know, it's whatever else happens, you know what I'm saying?
Well, like-
Because if they only worked, say they took time off on Thursday, Friday, and it was a holiday week, and they plowed on Monday, they still get paid that time and a half.
Because it's a holiday. It's a
Okay.
benefit holiday.
Okay,
What section is that in?
Holidays under, I
As
have
long
some
as you
pictures
understand that
under
same point,
options.
Yes.
as you do the payroll.
Says
And I talked
It
to
still
Deb,
doesn't make sense to me.
Well, no, this,
right, and
I talked
that's,
to Deborah, and Deborah said that she always did it that way too, so, or did something.
I guess to me, reading this, these are like two separate things. Where it says full-time regular employees who work on holidays will be scheduled to receive a subsidy. That's like if you are scheduled. Then, if you are if it's an unscheduled, then you get time and a half. But if it's something, I don't think we have anything here at the city, but if you had a full-time regular employee who was scheduled to work that day, for whatever reason, we would have to give them a holiday later. But to me, this is the scheduled, and then this specifically deals with unscheduled, such as plowing,
Right.
which I think they should get time after, because that is unscheduled.
Or a call in the middle of the night, if we have to go, we have a water main break, and is that
That's
time?
a whole
Right.
separate thing
That's a whole
altogether.
different thing.
But, yeah.
Right, so I understand what he's saying.
That's all I interpret.
Yeah.
So let me just say it back to you, just so I know if I
Don't
understand.
miss
Okay, so this is separate. So this, when they plowed, they would get 5 hours of time and a half, plus 8 hours of holiday pay, plus whatever they work the rest of the week, Tuesday
Yes.
through
That's the
Wednesday.
way I think
Yeah,
it should
and
be.
and like he's saying, if they were scheduled, like if you had to actually work, say on Labor Day, doing
Right.
something, then you would get
And we had to come in
a
early
holiday.
to plow,
well-
we're not getting paid time and a half.
Right, but if you had to work like, then you would get that holiday off another day.
Right,
Scheduled versus
yeah,
unscheduled.
Right.
no, that's
but
all
when
I'm
we
saying.
read the old one, and I even had him read it, it did not say that,
I think that's why
you
we're,
know.
We did it the way we did it,
Updating
according
it.
to the old policy, which
Right,
yeah, we're,
but,
But the other thing is, when they have a holiday, I mean, they take their holiday off, one of them will have call time. So they shouldn't ever have to move the holiday.
right,
Yeah,
well,
I
we
don't
don't
see
know
where
what,
this
I mean,
would ever really
Okay.
come into
Right.
play.
That's just in case,
There.
you know, in the future, the city's 100,000 people and we have to work 24/7 or something.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that first part.
Just saying.
Okay, thank you.
Or if
100
we-
years from now,
Or if
maybe.
we ever had like our own, like, police department, and you had somebody who has to work that,
Right.
like I do at the PD, you're scheduled, you get your holiday pay plus your overtime, and then if you come
Yeah.
in, then you get like double time if you're one of the lucky people with
Okay.
overtime. So that's how I read
Well, I
it.
appreciate the clarification.
What man's opinion.
Well,
I guess we don't have to make any changes then.
So do you
Done.
need to table this until the attorney looks at
If
it?
you would like him to look at it before you adopt it, then yes.
Yes.
I move to table this until the attorney has time to look at it.
Have a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Passes.
Thank you.
Jim, is Jim here?
Jim is, I never got a hold of Jim, apparently don't have his phone number, but I did give you all a map. And hopefully between Dick and I and Bonnie, we can kind of explain hopefully what it is that he's trying to do. And Cynthia is out in the election, and she said she would pop in and talk about this too, since she knows a little bit more about it, being a planning and zoning person.
That would be good, so we know that they're on board with it.
Would you like me
Would
to
you
grab
grab her, please? I appreciate that.
You know, the city is running out of land to build on. There are very few lots scattered around, empty lots scattered around town. And as far as I'm concerned, if we don't, you know, look at this.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
they can,
So,
let us soon be out of room.
so correct me
Would you
if
like to
I'm wrong. fine. So Jim's house is up there in that little corner that says 0600.
Well, his house is in the county.
Well, his house is in that general
Well,
vicinity.
I mean, it's split in the middle. Half
Right.
of the house is in the county, half of it is in the city.
But he doesn't have city sewer. Nobody around there, I think, has
Yeah, no
city
one,
sewer.
yeah.
So what he was talking about doing was wanting to run from, I think the sewer is on the highway.
Yeah,
So, and I think he said between Vallums and Burnett's.
That would be the best place to
Running
do
the
it.
sewer straight up that way and then over, and so that would hit his property, which he may want to subdivide at some point in time. And then these other people who live along the route could also hook in. So what his question was who pays for that? So I was looking in our ordinances, and this one says, was it this one that
He
says?
pays for it.
Basically, he pays for it, but if, maybe it was you that said if it's, or maybe it was this, if it's just for him, then he can do it for his size that he needs. But if it's for more people, then the city would pay the difference.
The city can, yeah, it says there in the ordinances that the city can request them to put a bigger pipe in, but they'll pay the difference, and then when you have the other people you're connecting on them, then they will pay part of that, you sort of prorate it out.
Now, if we do run a bigger line to accept more people, DEQ is gonna require the folks that live around there to be hooked up to that sewer.
yeah.
And so every single one of them is gonna have to pay the $1,400 fee and get hooked up. So this has to be
You have to have
a
public hearings. here.
unanimous decision all the way through,
Okay.
because there's a lot of costs involved with it, and
Yes.
everybody, DEQ will require that everybody is part of that
If
system.
you're within so many yards
Yeah.
of a sewer hookup, you must hook up.
So,
Well, most of them people that live out there don't even know where their sewer system is at, where their septic tanks are at.
No, I'm sure, yeah.
I've been
So you're
out there
saying all
trying to
these,
find it for
all
them.
these are on septic?
Yes, anybody out in the agriculture area is on septic. They've got a 1 acre size lot, so there's plenty, a big drain field for each one of them to have.
Pretty much anybody past Vicky Red,
Yeah.
Yes.
Cross Farm Road, or Cross Road.
Well, I was looking down the highway, all that,
All
you put it
out.
out between
Cross Street.
Barfield and, or, yeah, and Vallum.
okay.
And
And
if they run it
Burroughs
through
and
there, it's
Burns.
gonna, all of those residents are gonna fall under that.
Okay, so
So-
let's say that,
DEQ deal.
sorry.
I have a question for the planning. Is it like zoned, or is that gonna be an issue? If this all goes through, is planning and zoning okay with the subdivision of that area
Well,
before
you
we
have to
even?
have extensive planning and zoning.
But if he was just saying he wanted to rent it to his house for now.
Oh, he just
without
wants to
that
have
on the
his house
table.
now, that's nothing to do with us.
Okay,
No.
But if he decides to, then he has to formally, or do we send
Mm.
something to you guys?
Somebody has to send it to us before you could go on it, it doesn't matter who sends it.
Well, I'm just wondering if planning and zoning isn't gonna be, do we need to go the public hearing route first or planning and zoning first? That's my question.
You would go to planning and zoning first,
Okay.
and we would have some.
And that would be his responsibility, correct?
He should, yeah, he should go get the application from the city council, and then they would send it on to me to get the council, the commission together. And, well, we'd work with him before we did that, and we'd have a public hearing, and we'd discuss our findings, and then we'd send a recommendation on to the city council, at which time you probably would have your own hearing, and then decide what you want to do about it.
If it's just him connecting, he would be much, much, much better off to go from here, his house, down to Old Main. It's a very short route to
Yes,
the end
it
of the
would.
stub.
For sure.
Because there's a stub right here with the sewer.
So is he
in.
talking from here to like here?
But if he
Where we
wants,
can't see
I mean, if the
Yeah.
subdivision
Let's
is
see,
planned,
this
then he'll
goes
have to
so-
cut clear across.
Yeah, it would be.
And then
His house is
down
here,
right
right?
there.
That's
That's
right
a lot,
I think
that's a
this
lot
is
longer
Old Main
line.
right
Yeah.
So,
And it
there's
stubs,
options.
it stubs out, it dies off.
So how
right
many-
there. So he would be a
How
lot.
many customers are we looking at that
If
we
he's
have
just
to
doing
add on?
But if he did that, then he wouldn't be able to connect to his,
yeah.
How many is there for?
if he
Okay.
subdivides
So there's a
it,
sewer,
he would be gone out
the
there,
sewer
right?
goes
I'm
out
sorry, I can't hear you.
I said,
past
if
Cross
he did,
Street.
connected
The
onto
dead
Old
ends right
Main
above the
to connect his
store.
house on,
Oh.
then that wouldn't be a good one for subdividing out land.
Right, but if he just wanted to hook himself
Right.
up to it.
So if he puts
So
the
that wouldn't
end
have
down
anything
to
to do with
Mary
us then at
Jo's,
that point.
that
My other
entire
question
road, River
was,
Point Drive will all
assuming
have
that
to.
everybody says, yay, that's an
Riverview,
awesome
they'll all have
idea,
to connect.
let's all do it.
Mhm.
That's why there's none out there now, because
Normally, we would have each person pay the connection fee, the tapping fee, all that kind of stuff. Would that still happen if Jim runs the line and we pay for the difference for the larger line? Would they?
You mean like if he goes down between the valves and stuff?
Yeah, would,
Yes, everybody else would, that's one thing you have to discuss at the public hearings would be the other people paying.
yeah, because you'd have to prorate it. Say it was a 2,000 and 4 people were gonna, each one would have to pay 500.
Right.
So you would prorate it.
well, I'm talking about the connection fees that
The
most
additional
people inside
1,400.
town have to pay.
Oh, connect onto the sewer line.
Right.
Yes, they'd have to pay the connection fees then.
Also,
Yes.
Every person
And you
would
said
have
that's
to pay
1,400
that.
per,
I can't tell you the amount, it's in.
Well,
the
we'll say it's like
fee
somewhere
estimation.
around there.
It's a-
that'd be
It's
per
14
home.
on the board.
Per home.
And that's what a normal person, if they were building on a new lot, would have to pay.
right, but to
because
force
they
these
do it.
people into it.
Yeah, but force them in because somebody wants to subdivide. Yeah, that's something you have to look at.
Now,
Yeah,
how big is that lot? And how many,
That's
I don't know.
It's big.
10 acres?
Yeah.
Okay, so he could,
So you can
Well,
get 10
yes, but
people
it-
on there, they're
10
supposed to be
people.
acre lots.
It's
If
acre
No, you
lots.
couldn't get 10,
it's
because you
10
have to have
acres.
roadway.
Oh,
You
I
could
mean,
have a
Yeah,
50-foot
it has to be
road.
50-foot
But
wide
still,
strips of
you
roads.
still-
He probably hasn't thought of that either, because that's come up before, as people thought, oh, I can divide so many lots, but where are the roads gonna be? I'll decide that later. Well, you know you have to have,
are,
That's in
would
something.
he be absolutely limited to an acre size lot?
it can be bigger than an acre, but it can't be smaller.
Okay, there's no way around that.
Nope.
Okay.
It's agriculture, you have to have at least an acre lot. And when you look at the land out there, if you're going to find a decent place to put a house and a road on it, you need, I mean, it's not flat.
I've worked that ground
Yeah.
many times with a tractor,
Right.
with a wheel tractor, so it isn't that steep.
Well, it isn't
Yeah,
that
no,
steep,
it's
I'm talking
not.
about putting a road in that's going, you have to have the 50-foot right of
Well,
way.
yes.
And you put the road in the middle of that and then have a room for houses. That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
you have, you slope your bank here, and then you here, and then you have, you put
Yeah,
your
but I'm just
water
saying
and
that,
sewer
you know,
lines
it's-
in here.
Yeah, but it's still, it's not like talking about flat land. You
Well,
have to look at it carefully.
It isn't that steep out here, I worked at a.
I know you worked, if I've been out there and I looked at some of that and it's not flat enough that you could say just, it's easy to figure out just where to put
Pretty
it.
sure Dick does.
so it's probably looking at maybe 7.
Probably not 6 or 7, yeah. I don't know,
Or
I don't know how,
acres.
because it depends where they're going up and how he's putting the roads up and things, you know, you can vary considerably.
So it sounds like we need to reach out back to him, give him his 2 options, either running a single line just for him, or if he wants to do a bigger line that needs to go through planning and zoning and start the hearing process. Is that what I
Well,
understand?
his plan is developing this 10 acres.
So he would probably want the big pipe, so he's gonna need to go through
Yeah.
planning
Part
and
that's in
zoning
the
to
county
get
is
the ball
behind his
rolling.
house.
Because they can make the recommendation
The
to
part that's in the
us, and then we can
Like
look at
that?
that, and then
The
we
part
have the
that's in
hearing for
the
these
city goes right along
people
the bottom of the hill.
to decide if they
Right.
wanna, because some may want, some may not.
So that
Right.
field out
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
Field.
Yeah, if Kathy does something, that's.
You don't wanna run a 4-inch line all the way up that hill, but sell
Right.
these lots and nobody else would.
Did nobody do it right?
Yeah,
No.
so you gotta do it over
But also,
anyway.
you wouldn't-
This worked
So
out
it's
good.
gotta be done
Some
right
years
the
here.
first time.
It's really expensive.
Any more questions?
So, and this is, all of that out there is zoned agricultural?
Yes.
And why is it zoned agricultural? I'm just out of curiosity, I've never
Well, it
really
was
dealt
considered
with it.
at the time, it was zoned when I first got on there, as agriculture, because it would fit, you know, it was difficult to try and get like a sewer or walk and things out there, and it would help keep the character of the town prior to it being rural, you know.
So how does, like, is it possible if he wanted to get that rezoned, or is it stuck as agricultural until it hits a certain, like,
I suppose something you could
population?
ask for us to look at rezoning, yes.
That would be best to rezone it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I mean, just wondering what all the, you know, the options are, so.
Well, if it's that, then it'd be wise to ask us to do rezoning, and we look at it to see what recommendation we would make for that. And then we'd have to send the rezoning information to you.
Okay.
And then you'd have to decide whether or not to go with it. And then if you wanted to subdivide after that, you have to come back to planning and zoning for subdivision.
Okay, so if it was rezoned to residential, what are the size lots for residential?
I think it's 7,500 square feet.
It's
Sounds right.
50 by 150. Is the lots. The big up the hill, how your front door, yours is what, 35 by 100,
72
72?
by 100.
Yeah, by 70.
All right.
So, yeah, so that would be, I think, the 35.
So if you got it rezoned, that would completely change everything,
Yep.
So, you know.
all the way to the pipe size.
Yes, and the water pipes that would have to go out there too, that
Yep.
would need to change too.
There's already a pipeline out there.
I know, but the amount of water you'd be having people use, they would have to be looked at too. Because if you suddenly go from one house on an acre to how many would that probably be?
Yeah.
Right, two more.
Water.
There's a lot. Anything else?
Two line, 2 inch line.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Cynthia. Bye.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do as far as?
You don't need to do anything. Since I never got a hold of him, I just wanted to sort of ask a few questions.
Well, I would definitely, if we do get a hold of him, pass on the
information.
and the options, and then he can go through, if he decides to subdivide it, go through Cynthia, and then we'll just wait for the recommendation on what happens, I think.
We talk about rezoning because that could make a big difference on what route ends up on.
Yeah, if you rezoned, you could probably get
You could get a lot more houses out there.
Well,
10 to 15 maybe.
time to put a street through it, you gotta have a street down at the bottom side here, which is easy.
Well-
But then you need to put one across the middle of it.
Well, he could just go right, he could just come in right through the middle and just house on each side of the street, and just do one
Like you
street.
could do,
Yeah.
yes, you could do that easy.
Yep,
And
that would
it's,
be a cheaper way to do
You
it.
know, the steepest is right in here.
Mike, you wanna step up here for a second? I got a fire question for you.
I'm not guilty.
He just wants to take your hat. Be careful when you lean over.
This is the steepest.
Stand there like this, Mike.
That's after past Matt Anderson's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out there
Instead of
on
getting
the
a
boat,
rap artist.
Kathy's.
Grab it
Right across from Kathy's.
Maybe
Right.
some.
So,
And out there.
Now dated.
if we have if they do it, they just put a road down the center, I mean, is that gonna affect any, like, do we have to have a fire hydrant, or
Oh, yeah, you do.
how is that gonna work for the
Because
fire?
you have a hydrant,
Here's
right
a
there,
hydrant.
to three, right?
Or not
And then
There's one
there's
right
there.
across right here.
No, there's one right at Matt Anderson's
Oh,
bottom
so
here.
we're,
Oh, okay.
so they would have enough hydrant out there?
Well, no, not if you run in a new road and put in housing, you'll have to have a hydrant. Have
Maybe
it
like-
hydrants within 600 foot, no further apart than 600 foot.
Okay, so that's something else we'll wanna let
They
you
would
know.
have, they'd have to have a hydrant out there.
Yeah. And now, so if they just do a road, then we don't have to have like alley access or anything for, that doesn't affect the fire?
How wide is this?
It'll be 50 foot.
The road would be 50 foot.
Yeah,
I
the
don't
easement
know.
would be 50.
Yeah, but how wide is this right
Well, you'd have to
here?
have like 25 feet or so you could have a double lane.
Right.
You don't want.
Yeah, well, 50 foot easement, but I mean, I'm familiar with
That part?
this
Right.
end of his property. I
How
have-
wide, do we
for a
know
long
how
time.
wide this section of the property is?
Yeah, you need to.
So that would be something we would also need for,
Yeah, that would be, maybe come out as part of the,
We've had so many problems with it.
of his required road.
and they would let her know about the fire hydrants and all that?
Yes, I will.
Okay,
That ran all night one night.
Yes, I will.
all right, that's what I wanted to know. Thanks, Mike.
You went through like 3 feet wide.
And then this, he talking about, let me get my, this section right here, he was gonna be the hind gardeners. And he was wanting to talk to the, run that see if we could,
We have his phone number.
Oh.
We
No,
just
I
don't
didn't
get
have
ahold
his
of
phone
him.
number.
to make it all in one piece,
Yeah.
208-553.
because, you know, when
Three
you just
seven.
around town, there's not very many other
No,
lots
gets
like
lots of
that.
blood permits
Very
from.
few.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be nice if you develop that.
You know,
That opens up a lot.
well, it's
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because the new homes, the price of new homes are today is, and your tax base would come into the city, and the
Well-
tax that goes to the school, it would be enormous.
So if they hook up to sewer, are they on water now?
Yes,
Okay, so we don't want to, so then we would be able to.
we would still have to do some water, run some new lines and all that, but yeah,
But they're already paying for water, so then we would just be able to get them charged for sewer.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the water line, that water line runs kind of like down in.
Almost down the road there.
right along
Where
the
that
edge
road
there.
Yeah.
goes through there, you know, then here goes the water line. Clear across there, comes down around.
Okay.
Right down by
You
here.
know, like Mary
I
Taylor.
think it's a 6 inch line,
Oh, I know, in her place,
6 or 8.
the water runs
I
down.
believe it's 8.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be
I've
good
looked
if
at
you
the map, but I think
I
it's
know, right
Jump
now,
around the
after
hoops.
Matt Anderson's, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's an 8 that goes up over.
Straight vein for the whole
I
thing.
have to look at the map.
Then it goes down to like a
Slope,
6, and then it goes down to like a
no
2
more
or
than-
4 to the sewer.
What isn't in this town, right?
Right, right.
And then it goes back to
Underneath,
Park.
think it's 4. It's 2
You
going
just
down
dig it
to
out.
Richlands.
Mhm.
It's probably less slope than a lot of stuff in town right now.
So do we need like a motion to table it or anything? Okay.
Didn't think so.
Yeah.
It turns left at Browning's.
So,
It goes
I
up the
guess,
highway.
Down to the fire
We'll
hall.
bring it.
Temporary.
should we move on to
That meter
employees?
is in the wastewater plant parking lot.
Right now?
Staff reports?
Staff
Staff
reports.
report?
Oh, yeah, does council not have anything to say?
Water.
Okay,
sewer.
Oh, sorry.
No,
No,
you
you
Okay.
first.
do it.
We are, we're getting some new poles for the solar speed limit signs. Avista is donating those, and they will hopefully be put in the ground later on this week. Same spots, just we're getting some poles. And in front of you, I have the yearly quote for the lawnmower. He got us a great price again, and it's almost exactly what it was last year. Except for the discount is 18% instead of 20%. So that's the only difference.
Yeah, I think we paid like 29 something, pretty close to 3,000 last
Yeah.
year.
And next year, he sees it maybe going up 4% just because of inflation and all that. But yeah, he got us in on their spring deal. And as long as we purchase it between the 19th and the 26th, we can get that 18% discount. And I think that's really all I got.
Anything for you, Wendy?
How about you, Wendy?
Yes. So I got an email from Amanda at Lincoln County Solid Waste that you have in front of you, so I'm just basically passing that along to you. We had talked about going through the garbage rates at some point anyway, so this is just something to look at. I also included our current rates at the back, I think, so that you could see. And this is not on the agenda, it's something that I just got. And for your information, so if you'd like to talk about that soon, you can, or you know, whatever you guys want to do. So that's just information for you. I was talking to Dick today or yesterday. He would like to surplus Justin's old pickup and get that sold. So, I thought it would be a good idea to see if there's anything else that we would like to declare surplus and up for auction. I mentioned it to Josh today. Justin, if you guys can think of anything, if you guys think of something that needs to be gotten rid of, and then I'll get the resolution put together and then you can adopt that and we can advertise for it and sell it. So think about that. Cynthia said that planning and zoning needs a new member from the Juliaetta area of impact. She wanted me to ask you guys about that. I don't know if that's something that we like advertise for, if I should put that maybe on Facebook and say, hey, if you're interested in this and this is where you live, then contact somebody in planning and zoning, or that, how that works. If you guys know of anybody who would be interested in that, then, well, they need somebody. And then, I didn't have anything. Dodd said that the Economic Advisory Committee will make the awards of the CDBG at their April 22nd meeting, so hopefully that will be good news.
And the newsletter by the 15th, anything?
No, the newsletter just came out, so I won't be doing a newsletter submission until next month.
Oh, okay, I thought it was the 15th.
Every other month, it is, yes.
Oh, it is, every other month, okay.
That's all I have.
All I had was the stuff that I passed around earlier about the CARES Act and stuff, so. We're just working on getting our CARES Act stuff done. And we did get a lot sent out to the school and the library. Dick's been working on putting the toilets in and the sinks and things like that, so. That's all I got. Cool.
There's a surplus water truck in our garage bay.
Yes, yes there is.
Stock for sale.
So the only thing I really have is Josh and I were we've kind of been working in the shop lately. He made some parts for the wastewater plant, but I noticed the cones that we have are really in bad shape and faded, so we were talking about what kind of safety equipment we might need going forward, and the cones, maybe ordering some cones, and then the life preserver at the wastewater plant is literally dust.
And the
The
water.
cover's cracked,
Same with the water plant.
and same at the water plant, so I might get 2 life preservers because we're up for our sanitary survey for the water plant, and we're gonna be coming up for our wastewater inspection for, so I thought, you know, if anybody else has any other safety equipment ideas, then we could just do one order or separate, but those are just something I was noticing we might wanna, they look a little long in the tooth.
A lot of
so.
people run our cones over.
Yeah.
When you look at the cones, I know that they make some that are collapsible that might survive a little better if they
Oh,
get run
okay,
over, so you might
that's a good idea.
get some of each maybe.
Yeah,
So that way
yeah.
there they're easier, you can put some in your toolboxes, so if you need them, you can just pop them up and they're not taking up so much room.
That's great.
And then just collapse them down and put them back.
So where do you order your cones?
Well, Randy has a magazine that has all kinds of.
It's Uline,
in
isn't it?
Oh.
Right?
Uline?
Is it Uline or there's some
Yes,
magazine
Uline.
we have that, yeah.
Has the best safety ones. They're reasonable too.
Yeah, definitely check on the collapsible ones.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I got a new July book because we ordered the paper
Yeah, I
towels.
saw it in here.
There was one
It's
right
in
here.
the thing.
It's in the
I
thing.
stashed it in the thing.
It's in the thing, okay.
Podium.
I see it in the thing.
Don't ask me how
I think that's it. We're doing the highway cleanup Sunday at 10 a.m. if anybody wants to join, and we're waiting for the Blackberry Festival, so anyway. Thank you.
Do you have anything, Mike?
No.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
That was quick.